that when she went out to talk to and hang out with her friends that she was going to die that night.
I know.
She went out just to have fun. Just like probably every other victim that we see up on that wall. What we see globally, what we see nationally, we will see it here locally. That's one thing that I have seen in my work. Let's prevent it.
Yeah.
Please, let's prevent it. Let's not stop this particular effort, this passion that we are all gathered here today. Let's not stop it at 7:30 or whenever this thing ends today.
Right.
It has to continue. We have to have that spark that's going to continue the argument, because I'm going to tell you, you said something that really hit me a little while ago. I kind of wrote it down. You said, and I'm going to paraphrase it badly, John Lewis fought for the right to vote. And you were asking, by sitting there, as history was being made with this sit-in, you were asking for the vote to occur again.
Yeah.
But I'd like to change it a little bit, if I could. I would like that as John Lewis fought for the right to vote, I would like to see that we also fight for the right to live.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just wanted us to give a Harbor area welcome to Kyle Miller from La Habra Heights. He's an elected official there, mayor, vice mayor, mayor of La Habra Heights, came all the way here. So I want to give him a real warm harbor welcome. And Kyle, if you want us to have a sit-in La Habra Heights, we're coming. Just tell us when it is. But thank you for being here. You're a good friend and you're a good elected official who serves the people. Okay, Bob.
Thank you, Janice. It's a little hard to verbalize what I want to say, so bear with me, but the first thing I have to say is how much I respect the people who've come up and shared your grief, because it really is grief. And so I'm just going to share one little story with you, which is I'm holding a cup of coffee, and back in 1997 I was teaching a class, a college class, and I spilled the cup, I dropped the cup, and there was this pool of coffee on the floor. And I really almost lost it, because I've talked to other survivors, and they understand. Yeah, it reminded me of the pool of blood, the pool that was widening from my friend Lawrence Austin. And he was lucky in a way, because he was shot right through where his right eye had been when I had been talking to him a half an hour earlier, and he was at least lucky enough to be dead from that kind of a wound. And I remember looking over the refreshment counter and staring at him for a long time to make sure that he was really dead, hoping that he was really dead, because who would want to survive that kind of a wound? And you know, it's not the same thing as losing your own kid or your immediate relative. He was a friend, and it was somebody who had introduced an awful lot of the culture of film history of Southern California to me, and I really missed that, and I knew I was going to miss a major cultural institution and a dead friend. And it stays with you. It's now 19 years. The young fellow who shot Lawrence was 19 at the time, and so he now will have spent almost exactly half of his life behind bars for having done this act of stupidity and taking a few bucks for doing a murder. The thing that strikes me about this tonight is, first of all, it would be nice if, for once in your lives, the pro-gun people would admit that bullets do kill people. It's so painfully obvious. Yes, people kill people. They kill people in lots of ways. But it's so much easier with guns. It's 30,000 a year in this country. And I would like to think that the sit-in the House of Representatives will be the signal that causes all the rest of us to actually demand some action. Thank you.
evening. My name is Christian Guzman. I'm honored to be around you and to listen to these stories. First off, I wanted to say that the Constitution is a very impressive document, but it wasn't a perfect document. It was a product of compromise, and when it was passed, it had language such as 3/5 of other persons in it. So the Constitution has changed through time. Alcohol used to be, illegal. People weren't for that. So the Constitution can change. But also, growing up, I was lucky to never lose someone to gun violence, but I was often around guns, and they were owned and acquired in not a legal way. So I really think it's too easy to get guns.
Yeah.
And when I was growing up, I found bullet casings, in the playground. My brother he actually found a bullet casing last week, just in a park, and it's a little daunting. It's terrifying, and I think it needs to be made more difficult for certain people to get these weapons immediately. So thank you for anything you can do. Let's not only change the laws, but let's change culture, promote
Right.
peace, and
Right.
thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Brunke. I'm a proud sister of the gal Rachel who talked about the angel, building an angel out of guns. And anyway, I just wanted to thank you so much for holding this. I caught it on Facebook a couple of days ago, and I thought, oh my God, that's where I'm going to get active. And I speak, and I want to honor everybody that came here and that lost a loved one to gun violence. I speak of coming from a mother that I raised my children overseas, not by choice, but I was living overseas in a European country for 19 years. And coming from America, I remember being afraid of guns, just being fearful of guns. And when I went over there, I remember going to the parks, walking to the parks, being in the parks in the evenings, and never fearing for my life or my children's lives for those 19 years. And it was really bizarre. I remember going, oh my God, I'm not afraid. I'm gonna get shot and killed. And I knew at one point I had to come back home to be with my family in California, in the South Bay, and here in San Pedro. I wanted to come home to be near my family, near my aging mother. And it was time to come home, and my children followed me. But my biggest fear was they were going to come back to this very, very violent society. But this is the land of opportunity. This is where you can find work. This is where you can find a life and build a life for yourself. They can't in their home country in Europe. So today I want to just say that I'm so unfortunately excited in a negative way that I'm going to speak up and get proactive with all of you. But I needed something to do after work and get active in this society, in this community. And I'm so excited that I get to be a voice and help all of you people. I'm here, call upon me, thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, brothers and sisters, panelists. My name is Diane Middleton. I'm a retired attorney. I've lived in this community for 40 years. First of all, let me join with so many others in the room in thanking the Congresswoman for calling this meeting, bringing us together, and taking a first step. I wanted to speak last because I wanted to be sure that it was very, very clear that this meeting is about stopping gun violence. And I wanted to be sure that all people who have lost loved ones and had suffered had an opportunity to speak first. But I want to make sure we also understand, at least I want to share with you my vision of why this is the first step. First of all, it is a national disgrace that we have more guns in this country than any other country in the world. It is a national disgrace that we kill people at a higher rate than people in any other country in the world. They don't understand how this can be so. We talk about wars, and many people have died in wars, but more people have died because of gun violence. There shouldn't be any guns in this country. And we can talk about the Second Amendment, and we can talk all these other nonsense things. Look at the people that are killed. Too many people are being killed. We heard the testimony today. It's got to end. Now, I'd like to point out that the people doing the killing are not terrorists. They are not foreigners. The serial killers are mainly white people. So that gets lost. A lot of that gets lost, okay? We have to look at what is it that binds a lot of these killers together. And it's one thing, mental illness. So while you're here, and while I said this is a first step, I want to urge you, Congresswoman, unlike other speakers, I admire the stands you've taken keeping us out of war. I admire the fact that you didn't let us waste more money on a senseless war in Syria. Keep it up. If we had our priorities right, we'd spend more money on our people and their health. What does it say about a society where health care is a privilege, but people want to stand up and argue that gun ownership is a right? I don't think so. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nick, and so I'm a local community activist with Organizing for Action. And so thank you, Congresswoman, for hosting this event tonight. So today I'm just here, just hearing all the stories is just upsetting. And I just can't believe that there is so much gun violence in this country. I have family over in Australia, and I see in Australia where there's hardly no gun violence because of the laws that are in place in Australia. But I'm just here tonight just to honor, I came up here for a close friend of mine that 4 of her friends who worked at Disney World were gunned down in Pulse nightclub. And
Take your time, it's all right, take your time.
just to hear just her crying to me, and then just as a gay man, I just never thought this would happen, because after marriage equality was passed, we knew that this wasn't going to be we knew it was going to be a long road ahead. But it's just looking at these pictures up on the wall, I'm just pissed off. I'm sorry for saying it, but it's just
Okay, be pissed off. I don't want you to be pissed off.
I'm sick and tired of hearing gun violence on the news. I'm sick and tired of just hearing innocent people gunned down. I'm sick and tired of hearing this is
Right.
Islamic terrorism. This is not Islamic, radical terrorism. This was a man that was hateful, full of hate,
That's
raised
right.
by hate, had a gun, automatic assault weapon.
That's right.
Why does someone need to have an assault rifle? And to hear 49 people gunned down.
I know.
At that time, I just woke up to go to church, and hearing that, I was just afraid to go out. I just like, what would happen to me? What would happen to many the people, my brothers and sisters in the gay community? What would happen to them? And my mom, she doesn't agree with me being gay, but she's afraid for me. She's like, she doesn't want anything to happen to me.
We're with you. We are here for
And-
you. We're with you.
For taking a stand to the other side and saying enough is enough, not one more. Disarm hate, because right now not every law will save a life, but if we can,
True.
we need to take action. We can't just sit idle by and do nothing. The victims' families, everyone here is demanding action, and thank you so much for taking those steps
Thank you.
to fixing the culture of this country and fixing like guns aren't. I mean, they aren't the answer. Action is the answer. Change is the answer. We need to change culture. We need to change the guns in America. It's just, I'm sick and tired of it. And so, and I'm just thankful for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Ms. Hahn, and thanks everybody for coming. I wasn't sure if I was going to speak when this started, and I thought, well, I'll listen first, because I figure people are going to bring a lot more to this conversation than I might. But what I think of myself as lucky is that not having been touched directly by gun violence. excuse me, these things are just, emotionally charged. I am, because I like people, mostly. Sometimes they make it difficult, but if you have to try too hard to imagine how someone else's pain is remote from yours, then there is something wrong with you. And you should be seeking help, not a firearm. You should not be seeking some external way to give yourself a sense of confidence or power in the world. It's not civilized. It's not reasonable. The numbers do not back you up. You're not safer. If you use those same arguments to solve any of the other technical, practical issues in your life, you're going to be in a bad way. People don't affect anything with the kind of broken logic and emotional arguments that are used to somehow suggest that we need to be armed to the teeth at all times to protect us from other people who are armed to the teeth at all times. Other civilized countries, places where any of us would be at least reasonably welcome and comfortable, don't do it this way.
Right.
And the fact that on a governmental level we have such resistance to even discussing the problem is the most basic, should be the most basic source of our shame. We can even talk about the problem.
That's right. That's right.
Forget whatever base emotional drives would cause someone to decide that they need to kill someone else over an attitude or whatever. The fact that we call ourselves civilized, we have robots on Mars, but we can't agree that we should just sort of disarm and even talk about why we are in that stance in the first place. And that our government, as much trouble and as much blood has been shed to establish it for us, is handcuffed to the industry that is literally pointing guns at our heads. We need to let events like this be, hopefully for some people the first time, but certainly for no one the last time that they speak up and they let our elected leaders, who should only be, they shouldn't be the first leaders also who inspire us to do something. Ray Regalado and Lori Jacobs, inspired me to get involved.
Me too.
So other people should be similarly inspired, because any little thing is more than nothing, and standing by while this happens makes you complicit. You don't have to pull the trigger to make gun violence worse. You can stand by and let someone else do it. You can make the weak arguments and the comfortable reasoning that says, we can't ever make them go away. We can't. Nothing can be done about it. Everything can be done about it, and it won't prevent these things. But when they do happen, we won't have to say, well, someone should have done something. You can always be that person. So thanks, and please stay involved. Let your leaders know.
Thank you.
that it's time for this.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. This one's and this one. Oh, here we go. Thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for having the courage to get up at that podium and share your story. It was years. And I thought, because I've been around for a while, right? And I've been representing this community for 17 years. 2 years on the Charter Reform Commission, where we started neighborhood councils, then 10 years on the city council, now 5 years in Congress. And I was thinking, when so many of you got up to speak, we don't always agree on everything. There's been a lot of issues that we've been on different sides on. But on this one, it really feels amazing that so many of you have come to say you agree, because you have, unfortunately, a personal experience with gun violence. And I will tell you that 25-hour sit-in, I really hope it starts something. Because as John Lewis said, every once in a while, you got to get in the way. Every once in a while, you got to get in trouble. Every once in a while, you can't keep putting up with the same old, same old. And I know that I'm sick of moments of silence. I'm sick of silence. Because now I think you are demanding that we do something. One of my, I don't know what hour it was like 2 in the morning or something, but I thought, man, we should all wear red caps that say, "Make America Safe Again." officers who've been here tonight. Thank you. I think we all behaved well, even though some of us, we did have difference of opinions, and that's okay. That's okay. And I want to thank the Port of Los Angeles High School. Tom Scotty's the principal here, and Roger's been walking around. Thank you for making this space available for us tonight. We really appreciate it. So, again, you know, we talked about a lot of things. We talked about, I think there's a lot of people that would want to ban assault weapons. There's a lot of people that want to, you know, get military-style weapons off of our streets. A lot of people want to talk about magazine clips. Why should anybody, you know, have that many bullets that can kill that many people quickly? But, you know, that's not what we're even asking for. We're just asking to start with these two bills. One is if you've been deemed too dangerous to fly, we think you are too dangerous to own a gun. And everybody that buys a gun, wherever they do it, ought to have a background check. And again, if you disagree with this, if my colleagues disagree with those, then vote on it. Vote on it. If you think a terrorist should have a gun, you know, then put your name on the vote. If you don't think people should have background checks when they buy a gun, say so. But we, American people, have the right to know how those 435 people vote and believe about the issues that matter to Americans. And while 89% of Americans, I believe, agree on both of these bills, if you don't have the courage to say you're voting no on it, then, you know, you shouldn't be in Congress, because we've been asked to make hard votes. I've had to take hard votes. But you have a right to know how I vote for you, because I represent you. And again, you might not agree with every decision I made, but at least you have a right to know that I'm going to cast a vote on the tough bills that come before me in Congress. So hopefully you will call Speaker Ryan. You're going to write him. If you leave a message for him on some of these notes, I will personally take that to him, and, you know, take this back to the streets, right? Take this back to the streets. Let's not give up on this. Let's not take no for an answer. We've had too much gun violence in this country. Pictures on the wall are just a sample of those who have died. And we've just got to put a stop to this so that everyone has the right to live free in this country. Thank you very much.